This is a Misfit Nation production.
You want to be a friend of the cartel?
Ladies and gentlemen, making their way to the studio, they are the most dangerous podcast in sports entertainment. Crishaun the Don and Wunda from Kayfabe Kartel.
You're staying. You belong to the cartel now.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. This is the most dangerous podcast in sports entertainment, the Kayfabe Kartel. And I am here with your late review of Raw. I was a little sick earlier this week, so I wasn't able to do the review of Raw when I wanted to, but better late than never, as they say in wrestling. Actually, I don't even know if that's the saying. I think it's never say never in wrestling, but yeah, never say never. That kind of works too. You might have said he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. We need this and sorry if I sound a little congested. I don't think I do, but yeah, I probably shouldn't even be smoking. You know what? Let me put it down. Don't need it. But yeah, if you want your most spot on wrestling takes, then you've come to the right place, because I'm here to review WWE Monday Night Raw, August 5th episode. So I'll just jump right in. The show started off, as I've been saying for quite a while, that when Gunther wins, it was going to come. It was the next night on Raw. It was going to start off with the coronation of Gunther as champion. I've been saying it for a while. I've been wanting to see Ludwig Kaiser make his comeback and be the mouthpiece for Gunther again. And it also shows that they're not breaking up Imperium. Imperium is still a thing, and I still believe that they're gonna rebuild Imperium and have Gunther have this strong stable to back him up during his at least during his title run. But basically Gunther comes out. Ludwig Kaiser makes his grand introduction. Your new world champion, Gunther. And then he gets interrupted by one Randy Orton. Now, you know, I'm not mad at this being Gunther's first opponent, because it does accomplish a couple things here. First off, they had a pretty decent back and forth in their promo. You know, I don't think there was anything, you know, super quotable from it, but it was a pretty decent back and forth. There seemed to be some good tension building there. But it does accomplish two good things here. One, it's going to be a big win for Gunther. He needs a really big win. So Randy Orton, you know, basically a legend at this point. Basically going to be a Hall of Famer probably in a few years. But Randy Orton definitely going to be a huge win for Gunther for his first win. And then it also accomplishes the booking mistake that Triple H made in the King of the Ring, where he had Gunther try to defeat Randy Orton with a roll-up, which was completely fucking ridiculous. But he should have a nice decisive win over Randy Orton, and that will accomplish those two things. So I think it was all right. I think the promo was fine. I would have liked a little more Ludwig Kaiser speaking, but that might be just my bias. But the fans were pretty hot for Gunther. He had a lot of heat. Gunther's been garnering a lot of heat. People have been telling me that it's piped in. I don't know if I believe that, but yeah, people have been telling me that Gunther's boos have been piped in. I don't know. I can't really tell on that one. So I don't know if I believe that. I think he's been garnering some pretty good heat, but you know, I'll see if I can find the proof of that. But this little promo here, it made me feel like Gunther was definitely he felt like a main eventer. He felt like he should be where he was. He felt like he was the guy when Randy Orton came out and was going after Gunther, and now he's the guy that people are coming after. He's a viable threat. He's not even threat. He's a viable like problem to be dethroned. So Randy Orton coming at him, it didn't feel like Orton was taking a back seat or Orton was like taking a step down, I should say. Gunther belongs in the main event. And I like that, they gave him a nice build to the main event. And I think that's why sometimes it not even sometimes, it always the build to get to the main event is important. So sometimes WWE tends to skip that step or forget how to do that with a lot of these guys. And then they'll just launch them to the main event. And, it's like a Damian Priest kind of. I don't think he had a good build on the mid card. I guess as a single star, but maybe that's a bad example. But yeah, I think they just have they sometimes it's good to launch somebody right to the main event, and sometimes it's not. And Gunther, they made the right decision with Gunther. Now it got to a match where Kaiser took on Sheamus, and again, one of these super long-winded fucking matches. I wouldn't mind Kaiser versus Sheamus, but it was just a little too long. I can't watch long ass wrestling matches like this. Sometimes I can, depending on the story, but with no story, no build up. I mean, I guess they have a past that they're rekindling a feud or whatever, but I wasn't into the feud before. So but I guess we'll see. We'll see. They tied in and sorry, real quick, let me just say this too. I'm not saying the match was bad. I'm just saying like it was almost like it was a pay-per-view PLE style match with the babyface winning. Sheamus wins, and it kind of leaves nothing for them to do after that. It's like that's kind of it. The babyface won. They had the pay-per-view style match. Now I don't know if they're pushing to Kaiser and Sheamus having a pay-per-view match. But it was a formulaic Sheamus match. And honestly, I think Kaiser should have won because Pete Dunne jumped in and tried to hit him with the shillelagh, which every Irish fucking guy has to use a shillelagh as their weapon of choice. But he tries to take out Sheamus and cost him the match. But it didn't work. Sheamus just, eventually bro kicks Kaiser and wins the match. Now, the thing that made me question was because if they're rebuilding Imperium, everybody's thinking Dragunov being the guy. But I was like looking at it like, what if Pete Dunne is the guy that they're adding to Imperium? I think it might be a good fit. I think it's something for him to do. It kind of works with his stoic character that he plays. And he's a foreigner. He's a white foreigner. So it fucking works with the team. So I could see Pete Dunne actually joining Imperium. And I'm not sure if that's what they're pushing to. I know he does have his own reasons why he wanted to cost Sheamus the match. It wasn't to help Kaiser, so to speak, but and it didn't because Kaiser still lost. But yeah, what if Pete Dunne is the one that's going to be joining Imperium? I could kind of see that happening. So we'll see if that happens. That's one of my predictions. I'm seeing Pete Dunne joining Imperium, and I'm not sure if I've seen anybody say that yet. Now I'll go on to the Damian Priest because I think Damian Priest came out next to basically call out Finn Balor for turning on him. One thing that I love they did on this is Damian Priest makes his entrance. They hit his music and he comes just fucking walking out to the ring. Angry, fast-paced walk. Didn't wait for his music cues. Didn't the music was like literally still in its intro by the time he was in the ring. So like I love that type of, I like those little details. I hate when a wrestler is coming out to cut an angry promo for a blood feud and he sits there and does all his poses, does the stupid arrow thing, and it's like, all right. Now Damian did kind of fuck this up during the promo, but that was perfect. How he came out all the way up until him calling out Finn Balor. He screams, Finn, get out here. Said something along those lines. And then Finn doesn't come out. And this is where basically the perfection that was going on got ruined. And I don't know who cued Damian to do this or if he decided to do this, but out of nowhere, he changes the entire tone and starts cutting this like heartfelt promo about explaining his origins, his origin story of the Judgment Day and why it was important to him. And it just felt super contrived after this great display of anger, this like beautiful acting. And I said that at SummerSlam or during my SummerSlam review, is that Damian Priest is really good at his angry acting. He's really good at that. Like he's really good at showing that he has this like not a short fuse, but when his fuse is blown, he just like he can't control his anger. And he's really good at that. He's really good at angry acting. But then it just flipped and he just cut this promo, and then it's basically him also officially turning babyface, where he's like, I no longer need my family of the Judgment Day because the entire WWE universe is now my family. Ugh. Yuck. Ick. Horrendous. Yeah, he completely ruined it for I didn't like the turn. I could have done without that. I could have had him just call out Finn. He could have done that a different time. Doing that a different time. That's why timing is everything. If he did that at a different time, it would have been much better. But him calling out Finn and then Finn revealing, because this is what happens, is Finn eventually cuts him off during this promo, which he could have just done earlier. But for some reason they decided to have him cut this promo now. I would have rather them have done this too, is have him do the whole thing of like where he's going to hold the show hostage. I'm not letting this show continue until Finn Balor comes out here, and he just continuously calls out Finn because he's good at that anger thing. But then basically Finn comes out and not comes out, but he's on the Titantron, starts cutting this promo, real close-up shot of Finn. Finn basically explains, more or less how Damian ruined the dichotomy of the Judgment Day when he became the champion. He started sort of pushing people around, and he started trying to act like the leader, and the group was a leaderless group. That was the point of the group. I don't know if that's necessarily true because Edge was the original leader. But I guess maybe he's talking about once Edge left, the group became leaderless, and that was kind of their whole thing. But yeah, for some reason, when Finn was cutting his promo, I like it garnered sympathy for me for some reason. And like it made a lot of sense coming from Finn's point of view. And this is why I say they're gonna have a problem with the babyface heel dichotomy of this group. Now I don't know, because the fans are seemingly to seem to be eating it up, where Damian and Rhea are the baby faces here. But when Finn's cutting his promo, it's like I kind of agree with him. Like Damian and Rhea weren't really good friends. They did kind of treat everybody like shit. Even JD McDonough is right, where Damian and Rhea treated him like garbage. They didn't even want him in the group. He had to basically like kill himself to get into the group. So even when when JD McDonough jumped in and cut well no, they showed a promo later where JD McDonough was cutting a promo saying this, where he's like, yeah, you didn't even want me in the group. I sacrificed myself and you still didn't want me. Yeah, I have a hard time buying Damian and Rhea as the good guys here. I actually feel that Finn and the rest of the new Judgment Day, because they revealed the entire Judgment Day, the new Judgment Day. Finn, JD, Carlito, Dom, and Liv are now the new Judgment Day, and honestly, they all have legit grievance on why they turned against Damian and Rhea. So, I don't really think I don't know if they thought it out enough or if I'm just overthinking it and the fans are buying it, because the fans do seem to be popping for Damian and Rhea as the baby faces, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I like this promo by Finn and the promo by JD. And I never really liked JD. Never really even cared for him. But it made me really like get behind him, because I'm like, yes, you're right. You're right. They treated you guys like garbage. They tried to push you around. I feel you. And there was a point that was kind of funny where Finn, I don't know if he was doing this because of the whole street thing they're playing up with Damian Priest, but where Finn was like, he was kind of talking Ebonics at the end of his promo, where he's like, I'm going to wait till you feel safe. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till you feel safe. And he kept repeating it. I just thought it was funny. I don't know if he was doing that on purpose. He was just fucking with him. But yeah. But basically, JD McDonough had a match with Damian Priest. The whole match kind of ends in a schmaz, a little schmaz, a beat. I love that word, schmaz. It ends with sort of a beat down and a save by Rhea Ripley. The whole thing ended with like, it was really good, a good chaotic ending. I thought it was really good. But it showed the it was the basically to show that there's still unity behind Priest and Rhea's relationship. They end the whole thing with a hug, big hug. The crowd pops, and the new Judgment Day kind of flee in fear. Yeah, I thought it was all right. Again, my only problem is that I just don't find that Priest and Rhea are the good guys here. So I thought it was a nice feel good moment though for the people who are behind them. I get that. It was a cool moment, sure. I'm sure leading to a mixed tag match between Liv and Dom against Priest and Rhea. So I guess that's maybe the next pay-per-view. We'll see. I was wondering does anybody think that Edge will ever be mentioned in this whole Judgment Day breakup? Because they haven't at all mentioned Edge, and I get it, he's on the other show and all that stuff, but I just wonder if they'll ever sort of mention that version of Judgment Day. And I don't even mean like show him in clips or anything, but where there has to be sort of a battle where, and I don't want to call it Judgment Day Civil War because I hear people coining that already. And it's like, no, that's just the bloodline. Enough of the Civil War. It doesn't have to be with every group that breaks up. But maybe there is some kind of battle of like, well, listen, Priest, I believe, is the OG member of the Judgment Day. I believe Edge put him on first, and then it was Rhea. And then Finn came on a little bit later. And then I believe Finn is the one who turned, correct me if I'm wrong, turned the Judgment Day against Edge. Yeah, I'm a little foggy on that, but yeah, I mean, there could be an argument that the original Judgment Day, and I don't think they're going to start a new Judgment Day with Rhea and Damian. I think they're going to go on to their singles careers. But maybe there's an argument that they can't call themselves the Judgment Day anymore, and they create a new name for Edge and not Edge, sorry, Finn and JD and Carlito and Dom and Liv's new group, New Judgment Day. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. Excuse me. Just letting you guys know I may have to do a little pause in a minute here. I'll tell you guys though. All right. Let me try to fly through a couple of these here. All right, Karrion Kross and the Final Testament. This whole storyline, that old gag. Well, first off, Karrion Kross was cutting this promo, and I realized something, and I realized why Karrion Kross isn't. I don't think he's catching on, and it's a very simple, superficial answer. But Karrion Kross just doesn't have a memorable look. It's like every time I see him, I have to be reminded, oh yeah, that's Karrion Kross. And maybe I'm just an idiot, but and I know he changes up his look every now and then, and he's like, I think he's having a hard time finding a look. That's why he keeps shaving and then having a beard, and then he has a mustache one week, and then I think he's trying to find a memorable look, and he's having a hard time finding it. And I realized that when I was watching this promo, he just looks like a dude. He almost looks like Drew McIntyre when he was in 3MB before he grew the beard and all that stuff. Like he has this just not memorable face, Karrion Kross. And that's where I was like looking at, I was like, maybe he is decent on the mic and maybe he does have a character. It could just be his look that's fucking it up. He just can't find that look. I know that's a superficial answer, but I think that is an important thing. But anyway, AOP takes on the New Day, Kofi Kingston returning. They basically have this match, and you know, more or less it breaks down into this another schmoz. Love that word, goddamn. And basically this new guy comes out, Odyssey Jones. Now, I've never heard of Odyssey Jones. Actually, I've heard the name before. I've just never seen him wrestle or anything. But Odyssey Jones comes out to save the New Day. Comes out. Now, I was rather impressed by Odyssey Jones, I'll be honest. Just because of that double sidewalk slam that he did on AOP. Picks up both members of AOP in a fucking sidewalk slam. Holds them there for at least, a second or two and drops them. It wasn't even like an illusion thing. He literally held them there. That was fucking amazing. But yeah, basically he comes out to save the New Day. And the part that was very interesting, and I've been pointing this out, and I know a lot of people have been seeing this too, but for a while they've been playing up this little thing where, Kofi and Xavier, and it's been very subtle, and they've been doing it quite well to where I don't think a lot of people have noticed it, but Kofi and Xavier have been, not on the same page as of late. And it's little things where, Kofi will cut off Xavier in a promo and you'll see Xavier make a face like, and then he'll kind of move on. Like, or Xavier's about to accept a challenge and Kofi will jump in and go, yeah, he's going to fight me. And, Xavier will be like, all right, well, that's that then. But they did something, it wasn't even subtle this time, where Odyssey Jones and Kofi are in the back and they're all in arms. They're happy about what happened. They're showing that they have a good friendship. Kofi and Odyssey Jones, and then Xavier kind of comes into the picture, and he's playing off that he's a little bit uncomfortable by Odyssey Jones being there. And I don't know if it's that he's a little jealous of Kofi's new friendship, or if it was that Kofi didn't tell Xavier that Odyssey Jones was there to be their backup. and he kind of kept him out of the loop on that. Either way, it showed that New Day isn't on the same page right now. And it also shows that Karrion Kross, it's kind of proving him to be right throughout this whole thing. So Karrion Kross is being proven right that Kofi is a little bit of a tension whore, and he kind of isn't on the same page with Xavier when it comes to New Day business. So there's kind of sowing the seeds of dissension there between, or they've been doing that for a while. The more astute wrestling fans probably have been peeping that for a while. Honestly, Wunda kind of pointed that out to me, and then when he pointed it out to me, I started realizing, oh yeah, they are doing that. But yeah, they've been doing that quite well. I got to give them credit. I do appreciate details and slow builds, and I got to say, Xavier is really good at playing off those little things, those little subtle details of not being comfortable with stuff. And I guess it's easy for him to do it because his character is super hype. So all he does have to do is kind of come in and be a little more like, what's going on over here? So, and be a little more skeptical. So it's almost like the power of positivity thing is starting to wear thin with him. And yeah, I appreciate the fact that it's also making Karrion Kross correct in this whole thing. And does it lead to Xavier actually joining forces with the Final Testament? Now, I'm not so sure, because they are playing up this thing of Xavier kind of going with the Alpha Academy. Now I'm not so sure because I have a different prediction with the Alpha Academy, but Xavier could play into it. Why not? But I could see Xavier maybe kind of going along with the Alpha Academy instead of Final Testament and breaking away from Kofi, but still, maybe remaining a sort of a baby face. I don't know if they could pull that off, but I don't know if Xavier could really pull off a heel gimmick. I'm not so sure, but maybe that's because he's convinced me so much with his babyface gimmick that he could because he's good at playing off those little details of being sort of a jealous asshole when he wants to be, if that's what he's playing up. Because I could see it being more of like, hey, Kofi, you're not supposed to leave that out for me. I should have known that Odyssey was going to be here. I should have, like, they even played up that he didn't even know that Kofi and Odyssey were friends. Because they're like, oh yeah, we became friends at the PC when I was injured. So it's definitely, there's a division going on there. All right. So, you know what? I'm going to take this to our, promo of the week.
It's the promo of the week.
Burger after burger after burger.
All right. Promo of the week. Now, I'll be fair. This isn't promo of the week necessarily because of the promo side of this. It's because of what happened during the promo. So I admit this is a little unconventional for the promo of the week formula. However, I'm going with it because it was great. I gotta say it was great. So anyway, it starts out. CM Punk calls out he calls out Drew McIntyre. But instead he gets Seth freaking Rollins. And we get a cold, calculated, stoic Seth Rollins. Comes out again, just like the Damian thing. I love these little details. He's supposed to be angry. Don't come out waving your fucking hands and playing up to the crowd. You're angry. You come out cold and angry. Fuck the crowd right now. Because this takes precedence. So Seth comes out, doesn't even play up to his theme, and it was really good, the little detail. But I noticed something, because I realized WWE definitely wants us to they want to silence critics like me, for instance, who have been railing on CM Punk's fragility. I've been calling him Frail Brooks. Ceramic Made Punk is another one. Basically the fact that CM Punk is injury prone. And you could tell by this promo that WWE wants to silence the critic, and they wanted that match to be the silencing of those critics. They really drove home the point of you still got it, Punk. Even Drew McIntyre comes out later and tells him, you still got it, Punk. They really wanted the you still got it chance. They wanted all of it. And it was definitely to drive home the point that Punk, he's not injury prone, guys. Now I'm not buying it. I'll see after 2 or 3 matches. 3 matches in, then I'll be silenced. If he's perfectly fine, no tears, no coming out with the tape around his elbow and shit. Then I'll be like, all right, Punk is good. He just went through a string of injuries. He's good now for however long. I won't even argue that he's frail anymore. But I'm not buying it just yet. And I'm not counting on it, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to be a realist here. He's older. I think sometimes Punk thinks he can do a lot. I mean, look at his UFC career. Punk sometimes thinks he can do more than he can. And I think they definitely, WWE wants to make sure that people know that he can still go, because they want to be able to sell Punk and make, obviously make the money off of CM Punk there. But more or less they continue the Drew Punk feud here, which we could kind of tell because Drew took the bracelet back at the end of the match, put it on his arm, so he still has CM Punk's bracelet. An entire feud based on a fucking bracelet. What are we gonna do? Again, I mean, it's not based on the bracelet, let's be honest. The bracelet is the symbol of it, because I guess he can't, you can't have AJ Lee and fucking Larry being held hostage by Drew McIntyre, which would be great if they could. But yeah, they're continuing the Drew versus Punk feud. Now I've kind of had enough of it. They had to draw out the build. So I feel like it's been going on longer than it has. I feel like they already had 20 matches, but they only had 1. But I don't need to see Drew McIntyre versus Punk again. But Punk storms off because, he chases Drew basically mentions his wife again, and Punk runs after him up into the crowd. Drew was up in the crowd cutting his promo. And runs after Drew, leaving Seth Rollins in the ring by himself. And this is where the promo of the week became the promo of the week. Because out of nowhere, completely left field, Bronson Reed jumps in and ambushes Seth Rollins and takes out Seth Rollins in a way that I haven't seen probably ever, to be honest. Gives him 6 splashes off the top rope. And it was an amazing visual where he's jumping off the top rope. Everybody's in the ring trying to help Seth Rollins, all the officials, all the referees, and they all look up, and there's Bronson Reed getting ready to jump, and he jumps, and all the people just jump out of the way and fucking splash onto Seth Rollins. Every single time they did it, it was an amazing visual. I fucking loved it. Very old school wrestling shit. Big man destroying one of the stars. to the point where Seth Rollins was coughing up blood. The old internal bleeding injury angle made famous by Ken Shamrock during the Attitude Era. But yeah, Seth Rollins coughing up blood by the end of this. The fans ate this up. I ate this up. Bronson Reed instantly on the map. One of those moves that one of those booking decisions that instantly puts Bronson Reed right at the top, or in the in the top echelon of stars. Takes out one of the biggest stars in the business, like in a destructive, dominant way. And it was cool because he cut a promo before where he's like, I've had enough of this. Like, you guys don't know what the fuck I'm capable of, basically, is what his promo was. And he's like, I'm going to show you what I'm capable of. And it was beautiful. Big, giant beast of a man doing what he should be doing. And I think it officially puts Bronson Reed right in the main event. And I think it's a good move. He's one of those guys that should be launched right to the main event. Don't keep him sizzling too long, because then you run the risk of having him look weak a little too much. So for him to come in and do this, it was completely left field. It was impactful. It was game changing. The fact that he just puts himself right in the top. He's basically a new monster. They created a new monster. It makes you feel like Bronson Reed could have done this at any moment, and he could do this at any moment to pretty much anybody he wants to. So that's a great way to push this guy. He could fuck up anybody he wants to at any moment. He's the reason why everybody's safe, because he decides not to be this beast. But now that you pushed him, he's gonna be this beast. So I'm behind it. I'm all for it. Now I hope they push him right. I hope they push him as that monster. I hope they just let him go on like a tear, taking down, a couple guys that he should be. Like he should beat, for instance, a Sheamus. Now, if I remember correctly, he may have lost to Sheamus already. If they've had a match, I'm not 100% sure. Again, my memory gets a little foggy with some of these this newer school shit. But yeah, I think Bronson Reed should pick up some really big wins. And then I don't know if you put him right in the title picture, but see where it goes. Fuck it. Just let it organically play out. See where this goes now. I'm fine with Bronson Reed being a monster. Hang on one second, guys. All righty. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Busy day over here. The Misfit Nation Studios. Speaking of which, follow us, Misfit Nation. Subscribe here, Kayfabe Kartel. I'll do all the promos later. Just trying to get it all out. Trying to get it out here, or get the name out while you're watching. All right, let me get to the main event. Now this, I really enjoyed this match. We had the Creed brothers and Chad Gable versus the Wyatt Six. Now I believe the Creed brothers and Chad Gable came up with their official name, American Made. I think it's kind of cool. I like that name, American Made. I'm a patriot of this fine country. See the American flag behind me there. So I like the name. I'm a little biased, but I like the name. But basically, yeah, they kind of did this whole promo at the beginning of the show or earlier in the show where, the whole thing comes full circle. The Wyatt family debuted 11 years ago in Baltimore. The Wyatt Six debuting on this day, 11 years later in Baltimore. So it was a nice little tribute to Bray Wyatt. It makes sense now. I understand why now they waited. They didn't do it at SummerSlam. They wanted to have that tribute, that moment. It made it mean more. So I totally get it. I totally understand it now, and I forgive it not being on SummerSlam. But yeah, we got some nice callbacks to Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt. It, gave us the nostalgia feel, you know, gave us the nice gave us the feels in general. You got to think back to when they did debut and, how excited we all were about the Wyatt family coming through, and they did kind of drop the ball on certain things, but we won't get into that. Let's just remember the good for the good. It's over now. We'll remember it for what it was. And it did provide us with some good entertainment and good moments. So let's not pretend it was a complete, fucking failure. Bray Wyatt's career was goddamn memorable, if not anything else. Memorable and fucking creative as all hell. So you can't deny that. But yeah, I noticed something because I've been playing up my let me just reiterate it. I'm sorry I always have to do this for the people who haven't seen, is that I don't believe that this Creed brother Chad Gable thing is gonna last. I feel like it's just sort of a temporary thing, and it's more, it's just a vehicle to play into the bigger storyline of the American or the Alpha Academy and Chad Gable sort of reconciling. I don't necessarily think they're gonna join back together and be the group again, but sort of having more of a amicable ending than the ending that they had, and have Chad Gable actually, be, asking for forgiveness from his family. And that's where I think it's going. It's going into more of a forgiveness kind of story than it is them staying together. Now, if you notice, again, subtleties, one of the Creed brothers, and I don't know their names, but the taller, lanky one, he appears to not want to be there. He kind of like, he didn't, first off, when Chad did his pose and the other Creed brother did the pose, the one that I'm talking about didn't pose with them and kind of just like looked at them like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like he didn't want to be there for some reason. And I think, it's the fact that he doesn't want to beef with the Wyatt Six. I think that's what it is. And I don't think he feels the loyalty to actually do it for Chad Gable. Like he doesn't have that loyalty for him. Maybe the other Creed brother does, but at the end of the day, they're brothers. They're not going to split for Chad Gable. So yeah, I think they're playing that up for a reason. I think that's not done, that's not done by accident. So one of the Creed brothers definitely not. It's like the Xavier thing. They're not doing that by accident. One of the Creed brothers appears purposely to not want to be a part of this whole thing. So maybe it's the other Creed brother talking him into it. He's kind of the slower Creed brother. He was the Creed brother that got C's and D's, but he was a good athlete. He was probably the better athlete. Mom and dad favored him a little bit more, so he was a little more sheltered, while the other Creed brother was going out and getting drunk and fucking bitches. You know the deal. But yeah, I thought, let me get to the Wyatt Six, because I thought all of this was really great. The intro, they came out with the full version of the theme song, not just the piano key over and over. I thought it was a great visual with the rocking chair. They come out all together. They pick up the lantern off the rocking chair, and then they drag the rocking chair towards the ring where Uncle Howdy sits in the rocking chair. Abby the Witch sits in front of him. They hang the mask on the back where the Luke Harper side of the mask is faced out. I guess the visual or the symbolism is Luke Harper watching the Wyatt Six. It was nice little touch, man. But yeah, I thought even Uncle Howdy looked great with Abby the Witch sitting in front of him. Like it just looked nice. It looked like something. Obviously something out of a horror movie. I don't want to use that fucking cliche nonsense, but yeah, or that cliche description, but that's what it looked like. It looked the pageantry of it was nice. The production, WWE production is fucking A1 as usual. Top world class, top shelf production. WWE uncomparable. I'm a production guy. I'm in audio, visual production, all that stuff. I've done it all my whole life, and WWE has always been one of my favorite production teams. I thought they were they're always amazing. Yeah, they fail here and there, but for the most part, they know what the fuck they're doing. I gotta say, Dexter Lumis looks so fucking different that I almost can't see Dexter Lumis anymore. It's like a complete reinvention of Dexter Lumis. And it's like I don't see him anymore. And that's great. It's amazing. He just doesn't nearly look like the guy if you didn't tell me that was Dexter Lumis, I wouldn't have known. I almost feel like they shouldn't have told us. It was such a good reinvention. They could have probably played that off and not told anybody for a long time. I don't know how it leaked that it was him or that before they unmasked him, but had he unmasked, I probably wouldn't have known. It would have had to be the tattoos that would have tipped me off. But yeah, I just got to give it to him. Complete reinvention, commitment to the character. I got to appreciate that. Listen, the whole fucking package. The Wyatts work very well together. They look good. Joe Gacy has his corner spot, his tribute to Bray Wyatt. He does like basically the upside down corner spot, but he has his own version of it where he basically hangs on the turnbuckle, but upside down. I thought it was cool. It was a nice evolution of Bray Wyatt's spider backwards fucking thing. Look, Rowan looked happy and energized to be there. I felt happy for Rowan because there was a moment in the match where you can tell, like, I think it was a moment where he did the little splash into the turnbuckle, little corner lariat thing to somebody, and he kind of looks up at the crowd. And it was like a moment where you see it clicked for him, where he was like, I love this again. So yeah, I really felt happy for Rowan that he was back in there. I'm sure it was hard for him to not be in there with his brothers, Bray and Luke, and them, basically doing a tribute to him or to them, while also, launching this new group. I thought, that speaking of that, I thought they did that very well, where it wasn't just a tribute to Bray and Luke and the old Wyatt family. It was also them launching the new group and the storyline of the group. And I thought it all tied in very well. I thought it all helped each other. It all complemented each other. And not to mention the match was fucking great. The match was really done well. It was organized chaos. And I love that type of shit. It really brought back it made me think back to when the Wyatt family had that match with the Shield, and that match was just so fucking chaotic that it was like it was like you didn't know what to watch. You didn't know what part of it to watch. And it was just exciting. And that's what this match was. It was super exciting. It was it had everything you want in a fucking match. It was one of those moments in wrestling. It's like it made me think of that line from Moneyball where he says, how can you not be romantic about baseball? It's one of those moments where you're like, how can you not be romantic about wrestling? And I know that's fucking corny, but it really is. It's the, you know, the moments in wrestling where you do actually have a feeling, and you don't get a lot of those these days. So they finally gave us a moment that had like true feeling, and it wasn't forced, and it wasn't fucking contrived and, you know, pushed down your throat. I have nothing but good things to say about this whole match and this whole segment. I thought even the Creed brothers and Chad were fucking amazing in it. It was all just done very well. I can't say really anything bad about it. I really can't. The Wyatt 6 won. You know, that's how it should have been. And, you know, again, just leave it at a great moment in wrestling history, I believe. I believe it'll be one of those moments that go down in wrestling history. So yeah. Good fucking first start. First you know, push of the Wyatt 6, and we'll see where that goes, and I'll just go for the ride from here. Where does it go though? I definitely think I still think it goes down the route of what I said earlier. It pushes this the Chad Gable to basically, I think it's pushing Chad Gable to be a good guy. It's gonna humble him. That's what this whole thing is leading to, is Chad Gable being humbled and realizing that he was a piece of shit and treating his family like garbage. And he finally goes, you know what? I gotta, as much as I hate the Wyatt 6, I got to admit they were right, and I got to apologize to my brothers, my family. So, yeah, that was WWE Monday Night Raw. Listen, Raw after SummerSlam, I thought was a great show. I honestly didn't have a tap out moment. That's a new thing I'm doing, is where would I have tapped out of the show? Obviously, I skip over all the women's shit. I don't watch women's wrestling, so I can't unless it's got good story. Like, I've been chiming in on this or what do you call it? Looking in on this Damage Control fucking Sonya Deville nonsense, and I don't understand. What are they fighting over? It's meaningless bullshit. It's like they're constantly jumping each other. They're constantly like ambushing each other. For what? It's a waste of time. I'm not watching it. I'm not looking at it. I'm not spending any time on covering it. So yeah. But other than that, literally the only thing that I didn't watch is the only bullshit on the show, and I made a good choice because I looked down on it a little bit, and I skimmed through it. Nothing there with this Damage Control bullshit. But yeah, this episode of Raw, skipping all that, it was a really good episode of Raw. I didn't tap out once. I was into pretty much everything that happened. They caught me off guard with the Bronson Reed thing. I didn't see that coming whatsoever. I've been pretty spot on with everything I've been calling in that Bronson Reed. That's one of those things that I don't want to call stuff like that. That's something that should be unpredictable. Nobody should call that. I don't think anybody did call that. How could you? And that's exactly what we need more of. Guys making a huge impact, especially these new guys from NXT, making a huge impact. And it's like you have all these stars that you built from the past NXT. You got the Seth Rollins. Listen, you even have a guy like Sheamus and Randy Orton on the roster. Randy Orton and Sheamus should be doing way more jobs than they do. Like, Randy Orton should absolutely do a job for Gunther at this bash bash in Berlin or whatever the fuck it's called. It should be a dominant victory for Gunther. So, like, Sheamus should be doing more jobs. Like, he should have did the job for fucking Kaiser on Raw. It would have made way more sense. It wouldn't have hurt him to lose that match. We all know Sheamus is a tough son of a bitch. He's already, again, nearing that legendary status. Just like Randy Orton, which Randy Orton is legendary status. Randy Orton needs to be doing more jobs for these new these up-and-comers. So that's the problem, is a lot of these guys aren't doing the job. Or WWE isn't letting them do the job. Where they should be losing to some of these new guys. And Bronson Reed coming out and destroying Seth Rollins the way he did. I got to give credit to Seth Rollins for letting him do that. Letting him destroy him. Because that instantly put Bronson Reed on another level. So he should be thanking Seth Rollins, and hopefully they can keep that momentum. So yeah, I love that Bronson Reed. Love the way they did that. So yeah, I guess I could rate it. If I were to rate this Raw, I'd give it maybe a 8. 7.5, 8. I think SummerSlam was obviously better. I don't know why, because I gave SummerSlam a 8. So that's why I'm comparing it. But I like this Raw. I love the Wyatt match. I thought it was great. I thought it was good it showed us how they're gonna wrestle. And I loved how they wrestled. But yeah, that's it. I will actually wrap this up. Hey, while you're here, don't forget to go over to shopmisfitnation.com if you want to grab your Kayfabe Kartel gear or your Misfit Nation gear. If you're a Misfit Nation fan, you can get your Kayfabe Kartel t-shirt over there at Misfit Nation, shopmisfitnation.com. You can buy us a coffee or buy me a coffee over at Misfit Nation. Maybe when Kayfabe grows a little bit more, I'm going to start, well, when it grows a little bit more, I'm going to actually start Kayfabe's own little social media lines here. For now, we're just back our piggybacking off of Misfit Nation. Speaking of Misfit Nation, go ahead and follow us on YouTube or subscribe to us on YouTube at X, Rumble, Odyssey, at Misfit Nation. YouTube, I believe we're at 6.9 or 6.09 K, 6,000, almost 6.1 thousand viewers, subscribers. So go ahead and be one of those. And if you like audio, podbean.com, misfitnation.podbean.com. Now, Podbean, I may start a Kayfabe Podbean sooner than the other stuff. So I'll let you guys know about that, because I think audio wrestling is much better. But I got to get my formula down a little bit better, I think. But yeah. All right, we'll go check all that stuff out. I am out of here. I appreciate you guys for watching along. You guys be safe. I'll be back for the SmackDown review at some point. WWE SmackDown tonight. I don't think I'll be doing a watch along or anything, but yeah. Oh, you know what? We may be doing a live on Misfit Nation tonight, so stay tuned to that. Exactly. If you guys want to hear us talk about politics and life and pop culture and whatnot. Basically anything, everything other than wrestling. And sometimes we touch on wrestling over there too, because, you know, I'm a fucking wrestling nerd at the end of the day. And, you know, if you're a wrestling nerd, everything in your life is wrestling. It's like, if you're a wrestling nerd, have you ever, and this is how you know you're a wrestling nerd, if you're at, like, let's say you're at work or something, and you walk by a wall, and for no reason, because you're a wrestling nerd, you just sometimes just give the wall an elbow. Wow. You're always working. I don't know why. Sometimes I go around to my friends and I too sweet them because I'm a fucking homo. As a wrestling fan, you turn into a fucking fag for some reason. It's just ingrained. Yeah. It's one of those things of like when you I understand why wrestlers just get it in them, because when you're a kid and you actually wrestle, like me and my cousins, we used to actually wrestle each other. We'd make a ring out of the fucking couch cushions and shit like that, or a mattress, and you'd wrestle. And it's like you get it in your system. You can't get it out. Even to this day, I do stupid wrestling shit. All right. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Be safe. Peace out.
This is a Misfit Nation production.
You want to be in front of the cartel?